What show is this? This is the Spincast Cycling Show, right? No, I know what it is. Hello, everybody. I'm Brian Collison, Casey Shum, Brian White, Avatarless,
Hello.
Lisa Vries. Our monthly installment. And I can hear myself in my ears, which is weird. I have like a weird audio thing. I have a lot of computer issues for somebody that's computer savvy. Let's get started with it. Old topics, which are actually current topics for us because we only touch on it more once a month now, is UCI rulings. Are UCI trying to regulate a sport that they don't sort of own, in a sense? They don't own the world or the worlds, right? They own the world championships, but they don't own the worlds where the world championships exist on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the governing body, like, I think this is my hot take. Ready? Reckless speculation or hot take. I think the community, much like gravel, should own the sport before the top regulating body has their say. I think it's more of like, if we have some bargaining power from the creation of the sport to go, hey, instead of like we'll cater to the top tier governing body and go, this is our sport, we're owning it, this is how it works, and we have a community, we have rules and regulations, we have sports, we have sports celebrities or community members that are, you know, sort of do this thing, we have organizers, we have promoters, we have racers. That's my take. Is I think if you build it, they will come, instead of, hey, if you regulate us, we'll do what you guys want us to do. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think I get behind that. I was struggling with a lot of what they were starting to do, because a lot of it seems to just be kind of grabbing bits and pieces from previous cycling things, not necessarily knowing where they came from or thinking through the root of what that is. So I feel like what I've seen so far is a lot of just grabbing things from the cycling world, or I should say the indoor cycling world, but without knowing the context of some of it. I'm a little confused of how it made into the rules.
Okay.
Because it's like conflicting rules. It's, you know, if you're going to have an esports race that's regulated here, you have to have level equipment, but then there's another thing to say you can get disqualified if you use a bot for getting improved equipment.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what is it? You can't, everybody has to be on the same equipment. So there was a lot of conflicting things. And then some of the discussion we got into offline on it and in Discord was a lot about, well, if you watched the interview with the guy, this was the intent. But I'm like, but if you read the rules, that's not clear in the rules. So then it's open to interpretation, to enforcement. And I think that causes an issue too. So I'm like, if they know what the intent was, write the intent into the rule.
Yeah.
You know, I think vague rules get us in trouble.
But there's a balance between too complex versus simplified rules, because there is a balance and there's an art to it where you're like, wow, we want to give people enough information so they can follow the rules that we want to have. But then there's like, well, there's too many rules and there's too many interpretations. That's why you're trying to give a generalization of it. And it's sort of like the exceptions sometimes bleed into the non-exceptions to the rule. Like the rule is stating this, and then there's like, everyone brings in these exceptions to those rules where it's like, we gotta filter out the noise and just go kind of like, here's what it is. And then when we reach an exception or a new thing, then we have to add, you know, new parts to that.
Yeah, like, and I agree with that. You got to there's a balance there, but there's some stuff that was written in there that was just like, ooh, like one of them, and I forget the term they used, but I in my head, I think of it as collusion, but it was like, working with another, intentionally working with another participant within the race to gain an advantage. And I'm like, well, if I get in a break with another guy, I'm going to work with the other guy, right? Like, that's okay.
Right.
But it had to be the other guy was cheating. Like, my buddy jumps in there and doctors up his weight to purposely help me. That's a no-go, right?
But technically, you're not supposed to collude, quote unquote, with another team. There is the unwritten rules, but they're writing these rules. So now there's that sort of like, well, what is it? Is it sportsmanship? Kind of this unwritten thing where like, hey, I'm in a breakaway. We're not going to coordinate. I'm not going to get in your draft. Like if you're in a breakaway, you're not supposed to be in someone's draft. That's sort of cooperating with the team, right? Yeah. Like another team member. So that's where we get into these weeds where I think the UCI and MyWoosh and Zwift and everyone that's tried this has sort of done the best they can. But I think that sometimes when the UCI is sort of like chiming in when they don't usually chime in, and then they're like, wow, we really don't know the sort of like intricacies of everything. It just opens up more things where they're, instead of just like owning it to a certain extent, like it's kind of like they don't fully like, this is it. Maybe they are saying that and I just can't read it in the writing that they're doing. Or the statement. There's no, because there was Michael Rogers, right? He was like he was the esports guy, the liaison for the UCI, and he left. And I don't know if there's a new person that's sort of like hey, we're going to really try to get this sport popular and have it its own sort of thing, like the BMX and the touring people that, you know, like to do the what is it, that thing, that the obstacle course stuff. Sorry if I'm disparaging that sport. I love that sport because they don't have bicycle, they don't have seats and everything. When I'm going in
trials.
Yeah, trials. That's it, not touring. Trials. Now they've got gravel. Like gravel. Goes back to my initial question. Gravel sort of created itself.
Yeah.
For whatever it was. It was like we can't get the roads turned off, so maybe we can ask farmland people to kind of, hey, can we ride your frontage roads and do these things? And it sort of became, it's like for lack of a better term, the beer league racing. And then it became popular. People were like, hey, it's competitive instead of like super competitive racing. Most things create from scratch, right? Everything kind of created from scratch.
Yeah, the gravel started with no national organizations. It was grassroots racing, right? Local clubs putting it on, but you're on rural roads. You didn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get a bunch of permissions from local governments and stuff like that because you weren't really interfering with highly populated areas, things like that, right? But once it got popular among the cyclists, then the sanctioning bodies were like, oh, wait, let's get into this.
Yeah, your hey, let's meet up, like on Jarvis Island. Hey, let's meet up at the palm trees. That was essentially the beginning of, quote unquote, virtual racing on Zwift, because there was CompuTrainer race. I bet you there was like text, like bulletin board service racing, where like somebody would race, put their numbers down, and then post it, and go like, "Did you beat this?" That's so that we're always competitive, right? That's why I go back to that initial question of shouldn't, like, now we have so many different worlds. The BikeTerras, the MyWoosh, the Zwifts, the whatever. They're sort of like, the UCI's like, well, we want to regulate it all. And they don't really have a clear ability to do that because everything is different. It's not like...
Well, they have to get buy-in from the apps.
But the apps are different, though.
Well, they can all just say, no, we're not following these rules. But
True.
Then a UCI is going to be like, well, if we're putting on worlds, and if you don't buy in, you're not ever going to get worlds.
Right, but
that's okay.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. That's okay. What I'm saying is, like, if you use the analogy of like other national sports or world sports, like the cycling is so unique in that sense that like it has a different course and different things for their special races, right? If you go to baseball, the only thing that's different in really baseball is the outfield. Rugby has its own field. Sometimes different pitches have different widths and lengths, like certain stadiums couldn't do certain things, right? But essentially the rules are essentially this. All cycling really has is distance and elevation, and they choose places to do that. The physics of that world change. The atmosphere in Spain is different than the United States, or altitude in Utah, or whatever. But when we go into this world of BikeTerra, MyWoosh, Zwift, the physics are different. So the regulation, it's weird. I'm trying to get into the point of like the way the athlete trains is different than the way that it's also regulated, right?
Yeah, and I think about it from like what in the outdoor world, in these sports, what do those sanctioning bodies contribute? Why are they successful? I think about uh, here. I'm thinking about cycling and triathlon because those are the things I know the most. And I believe a lot of the reason that you have those sanctioning bodies, at least at the national level, right, is number one, they're the main driver to get insurance to host races, right? That's what a lot
Right.
of people use them for. So they're offering a service,
But
and they also offer, right, like a standard rule set to go by, and that's what they're doing. But what do they contribute to the indoor
Okay,
space? And it's got to be like the verification
right.
stuff,
That's
right?
yeah, I agree with you. That's logistics. But what it like, from in my opinion, it's validation. The governing body, or some sort of certified competition regulation, is validating the sport, right? That's the reason for these things. Hey, it's the world championship according to who? According to the UCI, blah, blah, blah. Or this is baseball, the World Series of American Baseball is this. And they have competed against the other ones to get that championship.
It's the
right?
whole joke we do, right? Like, well, I'm just going to put up a private event that's the USA National Championship.
Yes,
So I'm going to
exactly.
win it and say I'm the USA National Champion, right?
Right.
Because I won the event that was labeled that.
So that's where that's where I think wanting the validation for the athletes that want the validation, they want it to be as verified as possible, so that the prestige is more solidified, right?
Yeah. And I think I look at the whole situation and I nitpick the rules and I push on it a little bit because I was in the early days when it was all grassroots and it got a little stressful, right? The way it was handled and all of that. But I also want to step back and say,
What's that clicking noise?
What's up, Brian? There is huge progress, just the fact that we're getting that discussion going, right? Like, I think we're a long way from having this every form of racing on every platform is under that stamp. But I love the fact that we're having the conversation and that there's actually participation from those bodies.
Yes.
You know, and I'm going to call on Lee here a little bit. You know, there's conversations with national bodies surrounding how do we get involved, and not just the UCI, right?
Yeah, we're not poo-pooing this. We're for this.
I think that's, I mean, no one wants super crazy strict rules, but at the same time, you need to have those rules. And we may or may not agree with all the rules that the UCI has come out, but as we know from the UCI, it will probably be a organic situation where they change and adjust as it goes. But the fact that the UCI, which is the governing body of cycling in the world, has decided to make a esport indoor rule book, brings huge legitimacy to the indoor side of things. Like, we're not a sport until a governing body deems it's a sport.
I disagree. I think a sport can be a sport regardless of...
Well, no, it's a sport.
Validation.
But like we say, yeah, exactly. It's validation and legitimacy because it's a sport. I mean, we race on Zwift. People race on Zwift 17 times a day. So it's a sport. It's
Those
not
are
a
recovery
sport.
rides, by the way.
Yeah, they're beer. But it's not a sport in the eyes of governing bodies. And then the problem, like what we were talking about, national bodies. So it goes deeper than this. So national bodies like Cycling Canada have it in their mandate laws, bylaws to follow UCI rules. The provincial bodies have it in their bylaws and mandate to follow Cycling Canada's rules. So until there actually is UCI rules to follow downstream, down to the provincial level and the local level, there's not rules. It's not like a legitimate thing. Like, they can't go, everyone's just making up rules as they go. And up until this point, most racing, you know, it's gotten to the point where, like, you know, you can go onto Training Peaks Virtual and you can create a race and do smart trainers only. Like, but is that a rule? Like, that's not really a standardized rule across the board. Only TPV does that. Ruvi does that. But Zwift, I don't think you can pick smart trainers only. So there's...
I don't know. That's the thing.
I think you can do power. I think you have to. I think you can require power, but I'm not sure. I know it does heart rate, but Lee, that's a part that I hadn't really thought of though. If you establish, because this happens in the outdoor space too. If you establish an international set of rules like that, like the UCI does, that's accepted, it's kind of the template that then your national bodies and your smaller bodies will kind of adopt, rather than each individual other sanctioning body kind of that's at a smaller scale. Instead of them having to come up with their own rule book, they're going to say, we're going to adopt this international standard, and they might put some of their own addendums on it, right? Like, if we don't specifically call it out, we're following that, but it gives everybody a template and maybe some consistency, right?
Well, like, funny thing is, so I don't know if everyone remembers the disc brake fiasco.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So yep. Our local club puts on TTs and crits. When UCI banned disc brakes, it actually swept all the way down to our local club, because our local club is affiliated with Cycling BC. So we have to follow Cycling BC rules. Cycling BC is like, we follow Cycling Canada because we're affiliated with Cycling Canada. Cycling Canada says we follow UCI rules. So it trickled down. It was baloney, because we're like, man, we're at a TT. Like, who is crashing and cutting people with disc brakes in a TT? Like, you're not riding around anybody. But for like a month, it was about a month and a half, no one with disc brakes could show up to go and race in the TTs.
I panicked when I went to state time trials here because I started reading and I might be exposing myself here, but I was reading the rules, and according to the rules, we were under the cycling rules of the UCI, and the two rules specifically that I was concerned with was frames that were approved by the UCI in time trials and the seat setback rules. I had my TT set up very much like a triathlon that very rarely would meet the seat setback rules as far as where the nose of the seat had to be over the pedals, and I was too far forward on my bike for UCI rules. And I also had a felt frame that was not UCI approved. The width to depth of the aero tube on it had to be like a 2-to-1 or a maximum of 2-to-1, and mine was bigger than that, so I didn't have a UCI approved bike, and I was kind of paranoid about that. And I was talking to some buddies. He's like, I've never seen one at any event ever like pull out a measurement on a seat,
local stuff
or a frame, and that was the state level. But that was like, I was like kind of panicked about it. I'm like, oh,
because you're a rule follower.
Well, I didn't know, right? I didn't have the experience.
And
I was showing up. I wanted to win. I was showing up with I did win. I showed up with a legit shot to win, and I was like, I don't want to blow this because my seat's an inch too far forward, but I didn't want to move my seat either.
You read the syllabus before class starts.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
I'm one of those people too. Like, I'm always
now,
anxiety of not being prepared. Yeah.
If I would have lost, then the winner was on a non-approved bike. Then
then you're
right.
You need validation. You need the validation.
Right. If someone else is wrong, I want righteous justice, and if I'm wrong, I want mercy.
All right. Just to wrap this sort of question up, do you think the UCI is trying to do a simplified version for all platforms and say, hey, you need to abide by this rule, or do you think that they could evolve and go rules for each of these worlds? And then when I say worlds, I'm not saying world championships, everybody. I'm talking about the platforms. Let's say, these different platforms. They go, look, we have a subset of general rules, and then we have platform rules, so that they've done their due diligence to go, look, this is the way that things happen in this game, and then we've worked with the developers, and this is how we've completed that sort of rule set.
Well, the rules right now, from what I've seen, are pretty general. So, except there's one rule that Zwift doesn't follow. So we'll see.
That's the thing, is like, you have to be like, well, because the people like this, the people will speak and say, we want to race on Zwift, and we want to race on this, and we want to race on this.
I think I think the rules need to stay as platform agnostic as possible. I think they need to keep the platforms out of the rules and just write the rules. And if the platforms, if they keep it general, right? I don't want them to write rules to specifically exclude a platform or show favor to a platform. As long as they write the rules in that way, I think it's up to the platforms to conform to the rules if they want to host the events, right? As long as the UCI is not being malicious by, I'm going to specifically
Right.
write this into the rule because I don't like this platform or whatever, right? As long as they're being genuine with how they're writing them in a general way.
But doesn't the UCI have general rules for cycling, and then they have discipline rules? So like
This is all
BMX.
one discipline, right? We're not going to have Swifty cycling and Mice Bushy
Totally.
cycling and, right? Like,
But what about like a time trial rules and a road races rules, and then a mountain bikes rules?
yeah, I mean,
Right?
I
There's
could,
there's like general rules, like you need to be doing this, and then like, but if you're on this sort of thing, you have to do this. And gravel rules, gravel have their own rules.
There was one rule that was kind of geared towards Swift where it was you couldn't use upgraded in-game items.
Yeah.
Which I disagree with because it's esports.
basically, yeah, they had the weird rule in there was like basically it had to be neutralized equipment, basically, which was that one. And the other one was, and this one I think got a little controversial in the discussions, was basically how familiar or how much you have ridden the platform should not benefit you in the race. And I'm like,
That's wrong.
experience
Should.
is going to benefit you, right?
Yeah,
You absolutely
agree.
it should.
This is this got into that bot thing where I was
Yeah,
like,
that got
you
into
can't
that weird-
ride with a bot,
yeah.
and they're like, no, and that's a sort of like you get
The
in the
pace
weed.
partner versus bot got weird too.
Hey, it's
right?
like
Yeah.
I think I brought up this up. Maybe I didn't in the Discord, but it's like going to a batting cage and having like somebody not throw the ball at you. You're just like put it in the machine. Oh, you can't train like that. Well, I can train however I want. Why can't I use a bot? Like I don't have somebody around to pace the pacing I want to pace with, and I want to pace without a lot of people around. I just want to pace on my own. Can I make my own bot? No, that's not allowed. Oh, because you're getting all. It's like, see, that's where it's like, they don't know the platforms.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
I that rule came on early in the Swift world too, and right, I think there's a problem with the intent of the rules, and that rule was written to stop a problem, which was someone using a bot to gain XP without
Correct.
actually writing. Where I use the bot all the time, where I had written code with an Ant Plus simulator that basically I created my own pace partner that did intervals, right? The bot that I built would do 400 watts for 2 minutes, and then he'd do 200 watts. And my job was just to ride the wheel because I was more motivated by holding onto a wheel than I was focusing on erg mode.
Hmm.
But then it was like, if you use an Ant Plus sim, period, if you've ever used an Ant Plus sim on the platform, you're violation of the rules and you're excluded from racing. So I was like, well, can't do that anymore. You know,
Because you're, I see. I don't understand that. I do understand that. It's because, which I said in the Discord or
Yeah.
is they were way too harsh way early on in the sport on Cam
Yeah.
Jeffers and getting the Tron bike, and all they needed to do was just take his Tron bike away and go like, dude, you can't do that. You got to earn it like everyone else. Blah blah blah. You can keep racing and be whatever, but you used it to get the bike. It's like buying somebody's, it's like going and
Yeah.
buying the fastest bike out there. You paid for it. You still got to race. You still have to race on the bike, right? But you can earn it any way you want. Like a team can buy it, or you can, mow
Right.
lawns and get enough money. I mowed lawns and I got enough money to buy the bike myself, instead of like somebody gave you the bike. I mean, come on.
right. Do you punish an outdoor rider if they earned money in an illegal way to buy the $12,000 bike, right? Like if it didn't
mean,
directly, like
It was too. I think that was British cycling's hugest mistake, if that's even a word. Biggest mistake, in sense early on in the sport, and you're just severely hammering somebody, and just like everyone's
yeah.
like, huh? And you're like, what? And then he was this sort of like, we can lead into the next. Let's lead into the next topic, which is getting people that are community members to like help promote the sport. And it was like he was a community guy during, I think it was like during the pandemic, or was this during or before the pandemic? I can't remember.
It might have been before.
Before, right.
Yeah.
And it was like he was a huge influencer on YouTube and like racing on Zwift. Him and his other buddy is like Chris Pritchard. That guy was super funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were doing stuff, and it was like, wow, this is very cool, and like just super harsh punishment. And then he was just poof, gone, and no more, no like, whatever, I don't want to do it anymore, because it was like so swift and hard, and they didn't really know I don't think British cycling itself, maybe I'm wrong, knew what the sport was. They just knew that somebody used something that was sort of against the EULA of Zwift.
Yeah.
And that was like, well, that's bad. You can't do that. Instead of going, look, he was using the bike that he used. He didn't use it in a race. Like, he didn't race with the Ant Plus simulator. He just got the thing that he needed to do to have, quote unquote, the best bike.
He got the Tron like 6 months ahead of this, but he
didn't get the Tron for this event.
He had it long enough
but how
that
he got it,
50,000 meters. It was just how he got it. It wasn't necessarily he didn't ride the 50,000 meters eventually, but he got it in a nefarious way that they didn't like.
They should have just
came down with the
they should have just zeroed his XP or zeroed his elevation and have him start the Tron over again and go, look, you got to do it the hard way.
Yeah,
that's what I would have done, but whatever.
So
okay,
that is a good segue. That is a good segue, Brian, into you brought up a couple of names there that were driving a lot of content.
Oh yeah,
in those days, right? Chris Pritchard, Cam Jeffers. There was a lot of them. There were a lot more elite level or other.
Who were some other ones,
influencers.
Casey? You were there. Who was like there that was like not streaming live per se, but like I'm doing my wife's getting barked at by the dog. It's because she's neglected, I guess, today. No, she's not neglected. I know. She got a bath and she's hanging out on streets. Okay, a dog segue. The not streaming live, but like doing a race and then posting it and talking about it. I think there was another British guy who's Ed Laverick. He's another gun, maybe around the same time, maybe a little bit.
And Ed's
he's more
still floating around a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that the hard part is a few of the guys that really made a go of it being a little more mainstream back then never really got picked up. And Zwift has kind of admitted in some of these interviews over the last 4 or 5 years, right? Their growth is not going to be within cycling anymore, right? Like they've kind of tapped the cyclist market. So why are we not trying to, why is, I hate to use Cam because he actually got in trouble and had some things going on, but why weren't the Chris Pritchards and Ed Lavericks and, was it
even GCN? GCN was a big, even though they were like sort of like sponsored, but they were like cycling specific, and it was like everyday cyclists. Like they did the cycling cycling show where they had random people like, hey, I'm here on Mount Kilimanjaro on my bike.
Why aren't they maybe feeding a little bit of the marketing money into guys like that instead of
the Zach Nair, the Ed Thrall. Sorry,
you've got
Thrall,
a lot of
Ed Thrall. What am I doing here?
You could get a lot of real good storylines out of some of these guys in training for these events. And I remember, Tepe, right?
Yes.
Tepe would like take an entire season off because he like had a life and he wanted to do things when it was nice out. And then he would just come back and grind and like he got to the Maiwush finals for the national or the worlds. And
didn't he like Everest on a trial? Like he just signed up and did an Everest on a trial, or got the Tron,
he
or did
got
something.
the Tron bike in a
Yeah.
7-day trial.
Yeah, like the 7-day trial. He like rode for like 300 kilometers a day, and I was just like, that's awesome.
He Everested pretty much every day for the whole week.
Why wouldn't you use that in your marketing, right? Like, Swift can be free. You just have to be a crazy man like him, right? Do it for 7 days. You can get to level 100, and and I guess that's it. Because now you see, and this kind of I think is the segue is we see Zwift that keeps kind of what seems to be the paid promotion and the to different
marketing.
Yeah, the marketing that is clearly that they're using talent or people from mainly from cycling, but it's like these people aren't actually present on the
Yeah.
platform. You're not going to stumble across most of those people on the platform. They're not out there involved in racing, right? Why are we not trying to use our racers? Why are we not trying to use the people that are
Yeah,
genuinely hyped?
Who's the guy from Australia who had like the most things? Like I don't know what that guy looks like. Something Searle, something whatever.
Yeah, Tim Searle.
Tim Searle.
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like he probably has 200,000-300,000 miles on the platform now. We lost BK.
Yeah, like some of the people that you see from the at least just on Instagram that are tagged through and posted through the official Zwift page, like I've done more kilometers in that in a week than they have ever. Like this week, I've done more than they have ever.
I chuckle when you see some of the little blurbs that'll come out in that, and it's usually the Zwift focused, or I would say the Zwift paid marketing, where it'll be like hyping up somebody. They're an advanced Zwifter level 60. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
level 60 is not advanced. Being level, whatever we are, was 100 the max now. Being level 100 for more than 6 months is advanced, right? Like advanced Zwifting is not level 60. Sorry to you level 60 Zwifters, love you. That's awesome, right? But yeah, that's interesting. So
Yeah, I mean, and I understand the perspective because they're going with the Aunt Bev style marketing because the people they are have a big following, but they're not truly, like one person I saw literally had 2 out of the thousands or whatever hundreds of videos they had, 2 involved Zwift. And it didn't even show the platform, it just showed the Zwift ride. So I'm assuming they were gifted a Zwift ride for the real, you know what I mean? Because if they have 200 kilometers ridden, they're not exactly, I don't know. It's just weird because like you said, there's a lot of people that do put a lot of effort into solely riding indoors that would promote the platform that just, they're missing it.
And they seem stale, right? I mean, if you look at the peak Zwift numbers for a few years, right? Zwift's not growing. I think anyone who's looking at anything would agree with that, right? There's no growth at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm back. Am I back?
You're back.
Yep, we got you.
I'm on my phone, so we're gonna go with this. My computer overheated and crashed, and so I'm on my phone now. I'm getting my earbuds in.
It's so hot in
Or
California.
AirPods. It is hot today. Yeah, I just heard that I think we were on the Searle thing, getting more community members. I don't think they have done that in a while. They've been sort of like doing the what is it, the pro thing, the Matthew Van Der Poel, some of these other like world champions racers and stuff. But even the people that are not sort of like the well known in the Zwift world, that are in the videos, those are either marketing people or whatever, they could have maybe promoted those people as well, because they were like average, maybe these were actor portrayals. But the frustrating thing is the community members know the popular community people, and Zwift doesn't even, I don't think, either acknowledges it or they don't share that they acknowledge it.
Yeah, I'd love to see them really focus on more community with that stuff and celebrate the community and put that out there. And I'll use one of our friend of the show, right? Holly, right? Holly went into the pandemic not a cyclist and not a racer, right? She's crushing it. Why are they not grabbing community members like that have gained their fitness and transformed physically? It got involved in the sport, done all of these things directly through indoor, right? We've had indoor long enough that it's not a transition from outdoor to indoor for people anymore. People are starting indoors and only doing indoors.
Yeah.
And changing their lives, right? We see it from time to time on Twitch, the people that are jumping on there and having the big weight loss, fitness conversions, going from the Cat 5 My Whoosh racers to Cat 2 My Whoosh racers in a legit way over a couple of years. Like, why are we not putting those biographies and those stories out there as motivation to the new person coming in too, right?
Yeah, there was a streamer the other day that I don't even know. I think he was the only one on, and I just rated him just because I was like, let's chat with him. And the next day or something, he was riding again. I didn't even stream. I started to stream. I saw him on, and just from chatting with him, I rode around, found him, and rode with him for a little bit, just because like his story was kind of cool. Like he's just trying to get in shape, and found Zwift a few months ago and loves it. That's amazing. Yeah. So like,
I think it's just we're not cool.
Yeah,
the live streamers are not cool. So I think our complaint is that for a very marketed company that is now, it sort of they seem like they go back and forth between like professional stuff and then community stuff. They just sometimes don't have an identity. So these critiques are more of like, it would be great to know these people more, and if it did help us, then we can have more times to show up and be supportive of that. That's what I think. So, all right, no more Zwift stuff or community.
So who's buying a rower? Who's buying a rower? I've been looking for one.
Okay, I'm considering buying a rower. I've also looked at like a ski. What is it? The cross-country ski thing as well.
Ski erg, yeah.
The ski erg, yeah. Hey, ski erg thing.
I just got a gym membership that they have the row erg. I'm going to do some rowing on it as long as it connects to my whoosh. I assume it does. So I may be rowing
I've seen
in the
it.
gym.
Friend of the show, Felty. Aku. He's a big rower. He's been rowing on EXR for years, at least 3 years. And then he did my whoosh. It was a little glitchy, but at least it's there. But there's also running on my whoosh. So
yeah, my whoosh has the running, swimming, rowing, running, and cycling. And
I think what I was
good that my whoosh added a couple weeks ago, which if you do a lot of workouts on there, they added a little pay where you could unlock some slots for your workouts, which is kind of weird. It's like 80 cents for 10 slots and then goes up to like $3. So it's kind of weird that they're charging for that when they claim no fees. But if you do a lot of workouts, you just have to like kind of cycle them through. But the ones that are linked through Training Peaks, they don't count as your workouts.
Hey, speaking of my whoosh, did they still do the season pass thing, or is that defunct?
I'm not going to say it's defunct because we just had one when they released Bhutan World, but it's not as frequent as it started with. I think we got like 2 within like 6 months, and then now it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Basically, it's when they do a big world release, they release it. So it's not dead, but it's just if they throw out a big world, which I was disappointed with Canada because I've been seeing Canada update for months when you open the app up, and it was just Montreal. I believe it's Montreal Loop. I was hoping, my pipe dream was we start over in Montreal and ride 100 kilometers over to Vancouver and stop at each city along the way, but didn't happen.
That is not realistic. You know that, right?
We can dream. It's our made-up world.
I'm just making sure I didn't know if you knew Canada. Like you're like, oh, I wish it was like ride 100 kilometers.
Oh no, hell, it's like 3,000 kilometers.
Yeah, okay, I'm just making
5,000, 3,000 miles. Sorry, 3,000 miles.
Hey, if you rode that many kilometers, would you know how to pronounce someone's name over there in Vancouver?
Absolutely
Probably
not.
Absolutely not, for sure. Okay. Any more? Rowing was very short-lived because we're not rowers, but I think the rowing is something for people to check out. Now, here's the thing. Of all the platforms, actually, there's another platform out there. It's the one that has 3 sports in it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are running,
So there's
rowing,
there's
and
there's another
cycling. Yeah.
upstart. Yeah, there's an upstart by where is it? What's it called again? World Fitness World, I think it's what it's called. Friend of the show has been putting together this. What's that?
Your
Am I
mic's rough.
losing?
Yeah, no, it's Lee.
Lee. Okay. But it has where is it? It's on Instagram. I'll post it in the Discord, or Bjorn will post it in Discord. But it's multi-sport as well. But that's my question. My question is, now that we can't really have indoor swimming. There is indoor swimming, but you can't really get it in. Can we have multi-sport competitions now? Would that be a thing?
Well, Zwift does the duathlon. Like you can
they do a WCRL
do
duathlon. Yeah.
But how do they do this? Because there was that pandemic like arena league thing. How are they doing swimming?
Well, the duathlon is just it's timed events. How far can you run in like a 10-minute, 20-minute event, and then how far can you ride in a 15-minute ride? And they give like a 5-minute gap between them. So you do the run event, you jump off your treadmill, jump on the bike before it starts, and then they combine those for scoring. The Super League triathlon stuff that was like actually in-person stuff, but kind of hosted on Zwift. They swam in a pool. It was hosted at a pool. So you didn't swim on a platform. You swam in a pool, and then you got out and jumped on a bike. You're on a stationary bike.
But the running and riding were on Zwift.
Yeah.
Well, there was no like third or like a second. No. I guess we could do this. We could have multi-sport competitions.
Yeah.
And there was some platform or some community group that actually did multi-platform races. Like you had Indie Velo or Training Peaks, My Whoosh, and it bounced around.
I get that they were trying to do that. That's a little harder to do. Or I think it was harder to do. I think it was less intriguing.
Yeah.
To go like, I'm just going to cycle on a different platform.
Yeah, I think it's a cool concept, but I don't think that's like the low-hanging fruit of where we need to go, right? It gets to be too complex, and not a lot of people want to actually directly jump from one to the other. Other than your triathlons, I run and I ride, but I don't do triathlon anymore. I have no desire to combine the two of those at a racing level, right? Like I'll jump from the treadmill to the bike doing workouts, but I'm not doing a 5K race and then jumping into a 40-minute Zwift race at the same time, or time trial at the same time. I don't think that appeals to a lot of people because it's hard.
I think it does. I think it does appeal to.
For me, maybe it would be easier. Like, and I don't know if a lot of people are like this, but my home setup, even having a very good setup, like my treadmill is in a different room, and I use a different computer on it, and all of that. So just to get from my bike to the treadmill, I'm moving fans and I'm carrying stuff, and all my stuff for Zwift is in this room, and I got to take it out to that room, and then when I get done out there, I got my arms full and I'm carrying it all back to this room, and nothing's set up, and I'm frustrated.
You don't have the Lionel Sanders pandemic compound where he had like that fiberglass? Didn't he have like build like a fiberglass like swimming infinite pool or something like that?
Oh, when I was doing triathlon, I did look into, they make a swim erg that it reminds me of these rowers that are a rower. They concept 2 is they label it as an erg too, but you basically laid on your belly instead of sitting on your butt, and you pulled
right.
thing.
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
If those swim ergs put off the same power protocol as the row ergs, you could use a swim erg in the row mode to do training kind of thing.
Okay, let me ask you this. There was that rower attachment at Eurobike maybe last year or 2 years ago that you could connect to like a smart trainer. If that was a different measurement than like the regular rowers, like the fluid rowers, like if you had a fluid rower, if you had a concept 2, if you had an erg rower, we'd have to, we talked about rules. We'd have to have like smart trainer rower, fluid rower, and then you'd have to select all those things, right?
I like the concept where we all know you run into, right, is it counts on people being genuine and honest
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
do it, right? Because if you're attaching these things to a smart trainer, so someone can just, I'm going to ride the bike on the smart trainer, but I'm going to join a swim event and destroy everybody, or I'm going to row in a race and destroy everybody, because that would never happen. No one would ever misuse a rowing to riding simulator to manipulate a race, right? So I like the concept, right? From an individual who wants to do triathlon or something like that, to make these devices more adaptable to different things, right? These are big investments. I think Lee and I talked about this, I think a while back, about even like kickers, right? Make these things where you can put a different head unit on a different foot base. You can buy the base unit, and then you can upgrade the legs to the move legs, and you can buy the swim attachment, and you can buy the row attach. Like, that's all great until you have to manage that from a protocol perspective with a game. Like, and control those modes and all that.
Okay. All right. We started late, but we're going to go a little long because we don't do this very often, right? We've decided to go a little longer than normal.
We're only 45 minutes in from our start.
Oh, that's right. 45 minutes in. Okay. I want to get on BikeTerra because I want to talk about, I rode today because they released a new thing.
I raced Friday, so I'm up.
You raced Friday? Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Then we have two people to talk about it. They released new pack dynamics, or that's what they're calling it, pack, whatever, the way it works. My initial notes, and I put this in the BikeTerra chat. The two good things is there's no churn anymore. At least there wasn't crazy churn, but there was some movement. Like, you would move around a lot. It's sort of like real cycling, where you kind of hover in an area and you can move around. And it also allows you to stay focused on your surroundings because you're not trying to find your avatar as much. It's harder in BikeTerra to find your avatar. Now, the negatives are, if I can find it, if I remember it. One, it was when you're going through other slower riders, because I put maximum amount of bots, right? So the packs are just swallowing up people, and some people don't get swallowed up. They actually we just kind of glide through them. And those people, you're trying to grab those few people should be on the right hand side, like coming on your left, and the slow people should move to the right. Like, they should feel the pack come behind them, and they should move over unless they're.
That's a good idea. You actually move if there's a tight closing speed, you move the lead rider, the slower to the
riders
right.
Move, and then, because I was getting behind riders that were like not in the group that I was in, and then I would fall behind their wheel, and I'd have to chase back on, right?
Sounds pretty good.
Then there was one that was what was it? It was, you can't. So in the bots, so I did route of the week. So I just jumped into the main thing. It was Ehrenberg or something like that. So I had a really steep climb, but a big downhill, and you can't. Okay, we're 45 minutes in, 48 minutes in. RGT reference. In RGT,
yes. Scott just called you out in chat about 5 minutes ago for no RGT reference.
Yeah, right. The reference is the bots in RGT were in the rider list, and you could see their wattage, you could see their power and all that stuff. In BikeTerra, you can't. And so when a group is taking you over, or you're trying to chase to a pack, I didn't know how to gauge myself. There was only one rider on the course that was riding. That was a real rider, so that's in the rider list. It was just two people, myself and him, another rider. So we were just getting. I wasn't riding with him. He was just in the rider list. I was getting swallowed up and trying to stay with packs to get the pack feel to go around the courses and stuff. And I was just like, I can't gauge this. I can't feel it, and I'm hitting other slower riders. I'm getting dropped. Third thing is, Pack Almighty is a huge thing, and I don't know if that's Pack Almighty the way that you can, because I was staying in certain groups, but if the group is big enough, and you are not in the group, or you're getting swallowed up by the group and you don't hit the power that you're supposed to be, you just shoot out the back. And fourth thing is, I was in a group and I was just, stringing off the back. You know how we can kind of string off the back in certain
Mm-hmm.
fields where you can kind of hang off. I looked at my draft meter, because in BikeTerra you have a little down, or in the gradient area, there's a little circle, 0 draft, where I was like maybe 8 to 10 not 10 kilometers, 8 to 10 meters off the back. Like I feel like I would get a little bit. I was getting 0. And then they rode away from me and I just was like, I can't stay on their wheel. Those are my sort of quick initial, I only rode for like a half an hour to get on the show and everything like that. It looks amazing. Like it's like a really cool cosmetic, but it's a physical attribute. Taking the corners, going around, and you don't really, and you don't really ride up through people. It's kind of this, now it's like an RGT thing, is I was in a group and 2 or 3 of the riders rode harder and they found little gaps and got through people. And I kind of got blocked off by people. And I was in this sort of like pack of people. And so I was like, well, that's kind of cool. That's tougher. I can't just phase through people going around corners where we kind of have the concertina effect. You didn't phase through riders. Like, you went around them and then came back into the better line. That's sort of like the release notes of the game, is you're not sort of like, you're slowly finding the right line on somebody's wheel. And it's really like that. Like, you would get behind somebody and you would come around and you wouldn't just like phase through them. So how was your race with it, Casey?
It's funny because you brought up some of the things that were probably key elements to me. First, I would say I didn't notice major differences in the pack dynamics. Like, had I not been told there was a change,
maybe so. Yeah.
I might have been done and just been like, I need to ride this again. Was that really different or not? Like, it wasn't, and that's a positive, right? Because I've been riding it, once a week or so for a while, and I've been consistently saying I think this is the best physics that I ride on a regular basis. Like, I like the physics. I do laugh because the right way to say it is like, BikeTerra has the most unrealistic graphics of all the platforms, but has the best smoothness of the ride and that flowiness that you talk about, Brian, right? Like, they're probably the best at that when they have actually the least realistic, but I think that's great, right? That it doesn't have to be super realistic to be really good. But the one thing that you called out that was specifically the thing that I was questioning was, I felt like the tail at the back of a group was short, right? Like, that it used to be that draft really would pull you back a ways. You could drift off the back a little ways and still have that draft to come back on. And it was like, if there was a full bike length, maybe a bike and a half length between you and the guy ahead of you, you were losing the draft, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what happened to me. Yeah.
And I got in a group of 3 riders, right? And that made it tough. When we were rotating poles, you'd pull through. If you weren't super attentive about getting back onto it, then it would really it would struggle. But it felt good. Now, I'm assuming, Brian, you're not steering, right? You're just letting the game control you.
I use the keyboard to steer. Yeah, I don't have like a click or something like that to steer. I use the keyboard because I was off on the side on one of the, where I'm like, hey, why did it choose me to move here? So I only felt like I needed to use positioning once in my half an hour ride. Was like, hey, I'm kind of off to the side, move to the center, and it was like I got somebody's wheel. It was like a little group of like 4 people. I did have to turn down the bots because of my first notes, and I was like, okay, I want to try it in a less congested. So I went to high bots, so I could have clumps of little packs, and that seemed like it was a little bit easier for me to sort of like differentiate different paces of groups and different riders, and then grab a wheel and not grab a wheel.
Yeah, about 50% of my race, we probably had 10 people. So we had a mini pack going, right? And it all felt good. I steer completely now that Felty, friend of the show, was nice enough to point out while I was raging that I didn't want to use the steering on the keyboard. He said, hey, you know that your Zwift clicks will steer. And I'm like, wait, what? So BikeTerra does have the click steering ability.
Yeah.
I just discovered that. And so from a controls perspective, if you have the click version 2 in
I might need to get it for
BikeTerra,
this.
you have full control just as you would in Zwift. You
Hmm.
can shift, you can virtual shift and steer with them,
That's
which is
interesting.
awesome.
It's a great balance. Oh, sorry, Lee, go ahead.
No, I didn't know that. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I didn't know it either. I didn't know either.
So I didn't notice that because, and I kind of wanted to get your position, your feeling on the auto positioning, because I know that was a big change. But now that I've got the little thumb steer on my handlebars, I could care less how well it auto steers me, because I am forcing myself into the draft, and it
Yes.
I felt like it had a good balance of, it would allow me to kind of push my way into the draft, but it wouldn't allow me to truly ghost through somebody, when I
No,
was doing
yes.
that, right? Like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
could push me off the wheel a little bit, and then I had to, but it would kind of let you force yourself into a little gap where I think the auto steering maybe not wouldn't let you in there. But I loved it. I still think it's probably the best physics out there. What I don't know is I know how Zwift works in a 50 rider pack. I don't know how BikeTerra works in a 50 rider pack. And
Yeah.
Brian, you might be seeing a little more of that. I do feel like maybe that the draft and how much I like the draft there might get to be a little bit of pack almighty. I'm afraid if you had a 40 or 50 person pack, the breakaway would never be able to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But we had a
But
small enough group and
okay.
mass start and disparity, right? We had Felty was there, right? Like he could do some damage to us. We had to chase him. We dropped people on hills. But yeah, I mean, lots of great things happening over there, and lots of upgrades in a quick amount of time, right? Big video
So what we
upgrades
need,
in the last month.
oh
Big
yeah,
pack dynamics
lots of video.
upgrade in the
Oh, they
last
have a
month.
lot of textures too. Like they have
Yeah,
cobbles. Like
but
it was the,
roofs
I
on
think
the
it was like,
buildings.
yeah, it was like Ehrenberg or something. It was like it was like a Flemish course where you just start on a climb.
Was
But
it
it was
single
like,
track? Yeah, single track
oh,
or
I think there's a single
gravel or
track
something
too.
they did
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
There's a couple new upgrades, which is great. And I love being an early adopter and have my grandfathered in uh, pay rate. It's like I think I'm still on the $5 plan, which he said if you're on that rate, you stay in that rate, which is great. But the main thing is we got to get more people on this, and there's a lot more
Yeah.
racing too. There's a Monday Malarkey. There's I think the Ratio. These are sort of the holdovers from the RGT world. I think there's and you do the Friday ride. You do the
I do
Friday
the
race.
Friday it's OTR age group race that used to
OTR, yeah.
it's been
Okay,
on a few different platforms now, but James Ogilvy, yep,
you're right.
hosts that.
Well, James Olivier.
Olivia. Yeah, so I'm looking here. I just pulled up BikeTerra's website. 100% web based BikeTerra too. Like props
No,
on
they
them,
have an
right?
app.
Well, they have an app, but you can just run it on a
Oh, you
browser,
can write on
right?
the
Like
web. Yeah, I wrote on
yeah,
the web. I didn't write on
that
the app.
like you don't have to have this behemoth of a machine. I see an
The
OZE Cycling
yeah,
Monday.
the benefit from the app, I guess, and I think they have a Mac app as well, is it remembers your devices where the browser
Yeah,
does not remember your devices, which
I use the app just for that, right?
I need
When
the
you
app.
yeah, but it's so on Monday they have the Monday Malarkey series, and it looks like they have an OZE series that for me it's actually the middle of the night. It's only like 6 hours from now that one starts. But
Hmm,
Tuesday, and I think these are regulars now. Tuesday they have the BikeTerra Classics that they run on
okay.
Tuesdays. I know Fridays they do the age group races, so they are
Well, I'm
getting some more
excited to ride, but I'm like
consistency.
super busy with work now, and I'm like, I rode Bike Terra. I was like excited. Then I actually signed up for friends of the show, or friends of my stream. Got me to sign up to segue. This is a segue, guys. Unless you want to keep going.
No, you're good.
ECRO, which is it's the chasing people, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. They're doing Chasing Blue, or they did Chasing Blue. I signed up for it and I didn't do any of them, but it's actually pay for a license, and the sign up was really nice. You get a little license where you get like an animated GIF license. Uh, it's pretty seamless in signing up for the races. It's a invite only. So you have to be on it. You can be a freelance. I think you can be a freelance rider. You can join teams. There's a trading portal or it's a rider portal for like transact. Like you can like leave a team and you have a value. It's a really innovative way of like, hey, this is different than just show up and race. Do
Yeah,
you guys know what's going on?
I've watched a little bit of it this week. I've
Okay.
enjoyed watching it because Alan Lowe has
Right.
been participating, so he's been jumping into it. So the things I do know about it is it seemed to have good participation. It was mass start, and with the one he was doing, which was mid-evening for me, I was usually he was starting as I was finishing dirt racing series. So he was probably 8 o'clock Eastern time, somewhere around that time that he was firing off. Probably,
Yeah. For
he
me,
was probably 4
5:30.
or 5 o'clock. Yeah, there you go. But it seemed like well-populated races, mass start. Like you said, Brian, there's some quality controls to it, right? As far as being genuine efforts. I'm assuming was there weigh-ins and stuff like that involved
equipment
with it?
verification.
Yeah.
Pictures
No, it's
you gotta
honor
upload.
system weigh-in. Honor
Okay.
system weigh-in. But the trainer verification was you take a photo of you get a specific ID number, and then you put that next to. I just put it on a sticky and I put it next to my trainer, and it was like your ID and then your trainer and your serial number. And then you fill it all out, and it's like, okay, cool. So
Like
I
taking a
think it's gonna.
picture with the newspaper kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah,
you can't
exactly,
fake it.
exactly. Yeah, but it's like your trainer for your thing, which is kind of like my whoosh, where you or any the eBio passport and the lead out sports is where you
Yeah.
have your serial number assigned to you. So if you get a new trainer, you have to do a new one. I'm assuming.
Tons of data on their website. Tons.
Yeah. It
For
was
like a data
really,
nerd, it's fun to go through.
It was very cool. The one thing that I did do is I had another computer issue, not the streaming issue. I had an update right before my race, which was the second. I missed the time trial. It was on Tuesday. I was going to do the time trial, and I showed up, and it just didn't exist. Like it wasn't there. It wasn't in my. You're like you can show up late since it was mass start individual time trial. That was and I was streaming it. I was bummed out that I didn't do it because I was motivated to do it. And I didn't want to be reinstated. I get it that I missed it. I was just curious why you couldn't late join and just be behind everybody and then just finish and then have the time that the race started. Like the race starts at 5:30. That's your time start. And you show up and you just finish. And Jason LePage, he's on the team. And then Nathan, a friend of the show as well. He was like, hey, dude, sign up on the team. They did it. I'm on their team. But he brought up a great point about you could have people like just hanging out in the pen and then no one could get the results because hit the one person that's hanging out in the pen all day
Or
that lane joined. What's that?
Just like a 10-minute grace period.
That's what I was saying.
That's a
like,
very
have
valid concern because someone could just sit in the pen for 3 hours and no
nobody's
one's
getting
results.
Yeah.
But like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think would be acceptable.
Yeah. So that was more of like feature requests versus me complaining about not making my race. Whatever. I rode the bike. It's okay. I'm a fan of it. So they're doing essentially they've done this in the past, the chasing tour. That's what it used to be called. Now it's ECRO, which is cycling. Is it EC is the cycling? So it's E and then cycling racing organization, ECRO.
I think so.
The good thing is it's really easy to do. So there's not as many hoops to jump through. It costs money. It was like $13. It's $20 to start a team. And then the portal, which is kind of cool. There's somebody, I don't know if it's AI or if it's a person. They're doing a breakdown of everyone that sort of like changed teams. Like, hey, yeah, the trades, you can trade a player and you have your own value of it. Like
the
if you
teams
start
have a
winning,
maximum limit. And
salary cap.
So yeah, basically a participant. And yes, every single day it's got to be AI, because I can't imagine some guy is going through those lists and then making up something to say. But
It'd be cool either or. It's nice either
but it's
or.
like a daily broadcast where it talks about who moved to what team, who reorganized, who got dropped, like, and it even lists the riders' estimated value. Like, oh, like there was one where like Restart did a huge shuffle.
Yes.
And Restart was like, Restart picked up this guy. He's worth $2 million. Like, it's like, you know, and there's trades involved. So it's actually pretty interesting. And it's, you know, we talked earlier about like legitimacy in sports, and this is, it's fun. It's fun.
This is like, it's not like true verification.
Yeah.
It's like legit. This is like cool rec league where I used to play. I used to play softball.
I don't have a Zwift subscription, and it totally almost got me to get a Zwift subscription, because I was like, this website's awesome. And I don't even really want to race. And I'm like, oh, if I race, I can increase my ranking and my dollar amount goes up. And then maybe teams will want me for the D division. And like,
well, just listening to this, it feels like the right balance between fun and legitimate.
Like,
right?
if they could add a weight verification video, because really that takes 2 minutes, that would bring it to the next step.
It goes back to my thing is the rec league. This is like playing in an indoor soccer league or
it's
a
like
softball
fantasy
league
e-cycling,
where you pay. Yeah, but like we would have a guy who would have intro music for everybody on the team, even though that's not a thing. He would bring his own little speaker, like his little boom box, and he would have a CD with everyone's track. And this CDs is how old we are now. And he would play like, "Hey, coming on the," and he would just announce people's name, and we're like, "What are you doing?" He was just somebody that embraced it and had fun.
Just having fun.
But we paid for the field, we paid for the rec league, the organization of the other teams. People were wearing red T-shirts. We were wearing like blue jerseys. It was pickup, but it had a little bit of coolness to it because there was some time spent on the back end to kind of make it a little bit more fun. That's what I think this is. This is the balance. This is the in between. This is not the, hey, I'm going to do a recovery ride in the Zwift Games sort of community races. This is like, we kind of want some organization, but it doesn't have to be as many hoops as we want to jump through to do like, Premier League stuff.
I saw something this week in my team Discord with the DW team that I do a lot of my ladder racing with, and team time trials and things like that. And this was in the ladder racing group, and I don't know how serious or how big this is, but what this guy was talking about was basically doing a ladder league, but they're not going to be rigid on what the race format is. When you challenge another team, you and that other team figure out what you want that race to be. Is it 10 on 10? Is it 5 on 5? Is it 3 on 3? Is it a team time trial? Are you racing up a hill? Like, they aren't going to dictate how you race that other team and what is winning and what is losing. It's for you and the other team to figure out. So you could be completely open to format. And I think the idea was to be a little more fun with it. And they're like, we are not going to police legitimacy and things like that. It's going to be an honor system. And they were doing an honor system across the board, right? I think there needs to be some safety nets in place, right? Keep the honest people honest in that. But I liked the idea of it didn't have to be rigid, right? Like, you could have a little more fun and explore. You can only explore as much as the platform that's hosting the races allows you, right, for race setup and things like that. But I thought that was a cool idea, because they even talked about like doing ladder style racing, but it could be 4 teams in a ladder race. So if you do 5 people on 4 teams, it's 20 people lining up. So it's not a team A versus team B anymore, right? It can be like, 3 teams are in the break and one's not. So the one that's not in the break's going to do all the work and like doing stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I could get behind that kind of platform. And that's the kind of ingenuity and thought process we need in this, right? And these are all coming from non-platform related organizers, right? ECRO, Lead Out, Ladder. These are all groups that are doing this, not living underneath the corporate umbrella of one of the platforms.
Right. Would the ECRO?
I was going to say there's some big names in the free agent list. Just looking right now, Jeremy Ray placed very well in Canadian Nationals, is the number 5th ranked free agent. He's got no team.
Hey,
Najal Peterson. He's not on a team.
Oh, see now I actually want to go do this, but I was looking like the next big league. Like I'm gonna start summer travel and stuff. When some of this, because it looks like what's weird about it is are they hosting it from the Southern Hemisphere or something? Because I looked at their website real quick, and it was all about the number of races between now and October, and I'm like, this is off season for most people.
No, I think the thing is they replicate the pro series.
You're right. Okay, so they'll have something that corresponds with the tour.
Yeah, chasing Milan San Remo is like so. Like Milan San Remo is like a 60-kilometer race next Saturday, which is it's sort of like the same weekend of
the races are like decently long. Yeah, like the chasing San Remo.
Yeah, they're challenging.
It's March 21st is 66K. That's a good indoor ride.
Yes, that's the big one because Milan San Remo is like almost 300 kilometers. So they're trying to make it sort of like replicating the harshness of a real race, but not. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so I remember I did one of these a couple of years ago that was like a 10-dayer, where it was 5 days on, 1 day off, and then another 10 days.
Chasing Yellow will be in July, and Chasing Red in September or something.
The problem we had at the time was they weren't closed events, so you'd have some rando jump in on day 7 and be like, "Oh, dude, we all have 7 days of fatigue in us." That I mean, they were all 90 minutes plus races, right? Every one of them. Some of them 2 hours plus with significant climbing in them. So
this one's pretty flat. This is pretty flat.
Yeah,
66K, 417 meters.
You can show up to, like, if you miss a day, you're just out of the GC, but you can still race.
Yeah.
So like, cool. and it's cool. So like, I was like, oh, I can show up the next day, and then
and you can still accumulate points for your team, right? You just right. You could still accumulate points for your team, right, and still contribute.
Yeah. And there's a world champion chasing worlds competition, I think, that like you can then qualify for. Okay. It's a great interface. Check it out. That's what I would love this for a BikeTerra or any other race. Like you could build your own races or even a Training Peaks virtual, right? But this interface and this sort of like funness of it is kind of nice. I kind of like it.
It is.
I'm trying to find something else on Discord. Yeah. Hey, if Scott is in the chat, he sent me something. It was it's like another platform. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but he said it was like a talking point. If he wants to share it in the chat now, maybe we can talk about it, because it's gonna.
He's there, so we'll see what he comes up with.
Yeah, put it in like I don't know where. Put it so that Lee can see it, and then he'll punch it up. Because I would have gave it to, but I'm on my phone, and my other computer doesn't have Discord on it right now, so. Technical. At least I have a camera on. Brian White is just on a boat. He's pretending like he's not on a boat, but he's on a boat.
Is that
for sure? He's on a boat.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. And I'm like doing all my dancing around here. And the thing is, the funny thing.
Have you been holding your phone the whole time like this? We should go for a lot longer and see how long you can.
I have like a little selfie stick thing from Quad Lock that's helping me hold it now. I have progressive, so it's kind of blurry, and I want to look up to get. Now everyone's in focus, but now everyone's looking at my nose, and I don't want that. So,
get that, Lee. From Scott posted it.
Got it. All right, Brian, are you there still? Is Brian even there?
He's muted right now, so he may have to step away.
Okay.
I do know, and I don't know how much longer it's going on, but and I don't even know if it was today, but My Whoosh is on their special schedule, right? Their holiday schedule. So it has been more tolerable race times for North America, if anyone's interested.
Oh, right. I don't know because I think
I don't know how much longer that goes on.
Yeah, I caught Brian this morning. He was still streaming. I'm like, oh, Brian's on. It says SRC. And I'm like, oh, he must have. That's right. Yeah. It's like, it's doable.
Right. If you don't have a Sunday morning commitment in North America, you could
Yeah.
actually dabble in SRC. It's almost over. Another week. Okay. Thank you, Flight.
So what is the time frame on the East Coast? Like 5 a.m.
I want to say
instead
it's
of
no normal time or now.
now.
The altered time, it's like 11 a.m. or something like that, right? Like I think it's 10 a.m. for Central, something like that. Like it's very
Oh wow, that's
tolerable. Yeah.
then that's doable for me. Because I don't know if I can do a 2 a.m. one or a 3 a.m. one, whatever that is.
Yeah, because when I'm getting home at noon, people are finishing up their SRC streams usually. Like every once in a while, I'll catch somebody
Yeah.
extending it a little bit. So yeah,
Well,
the sun is
yeah.
up in North America for everyone.
I've been working
point.
late lately, and I'm like, oh, and then I kind of want to go to sleep, and then I'm like, my brain is on. I look and see people streaming. That's when I catch like there's the My Whoosh channel is on, like their main broadcast, and then like, other people are streaming, like Holly and other people are doing their races. So I'm
So
like,
Lee pulled up this other app. Was it Grind?
what's this thing called? Yeah, Grind. What
I don't know.
this?
I would have I don't think I would want to type that URL into a search engine. I'm afraid of what I would come up. It's grind.wtf.
Yeah, I think as I have to look because everyone's looking up my nose, my deviated septum. So I believe this is another. Is it like a portal? It looks slick. Wow, that looks sick. Okay, for the non video audience, the audio only audience, it's like a Tron sort of like road.
So they just made
It took a
all like
GPX
the
and made this
Zwift.
thing.
Well, no, this is like free ride simulation mode. This is just like a video showing it. But yeah, they've pretty much just like defeated Zwift with their climb portals.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It looks like. See, the thing is, I'm. This looks cool because it looks like Tron to me, and I want something that's not Zwift. Zwift just made a. They made VeloViewer, and this isn't VeloViewer, right? Is this like a game, or is this like just like a workout? Is this like?
Well, you can make workouts, it looks like, but they have a free ride simulator. And this is just a free ride simulator.
So this is just like a VeloViewer.
So the front page has start with a template like Sweet Spotter VO2 Max, and then it has start with a segment, build your own workout. So I don't know if that's maybe like actually import a workout or a route. So I feel like maybe you could throw GPX in here too.
Maybe. I want Uniracers. That's what I want.
Interesting.
Games. Oh, I thought of this because now we're on a little bit longer now. The games. What's the games game?
What games?
What games?
There's
games. What games?
A whole
Dude,
lot
we
of
need to
movement.
reach out to. We need to get them. We need to get a release.
I check their Discord all the time, and I think it's just been stagnant because the last sort of update that they had was they were pushing hard for trainer season, which is now almost over for 2026, or spring of 2026 is approaching fast.
All right, who did the initial reach out to them? Was that you, Lee?
Yeah, like they have a Discord and they're sort of active in their Discord, but there's been no movement in the actual game at all.
All right. Is it? I would love to have a. I know. I had fun with that, even though it was punishing. I remember doing the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the T-Rex one.
Casey finished it.
I did everything. Yeah. There's
Dude, the tower one. I just couldn't pass it.
I feel like they're maybe still doing stuff. Maybe it's just slow. His last comment out here looks like it was in January, and there's some acknowledgement that there was kind of two different things they were working on, some quality of life updates, and then what he's calling a new battle system, and they were tied together, and he's thinking about pulling them apart so he can get some of the quality of life stuff out there because they weren't quite ready with the battle system. So battle sounds cool.
I appreciate them taking the time because I mean, I would rather see a more complete, polished game come out up to what the level that they want it, rather than just sort of bug fix while people are riding the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, but you're a Blizzard World of Warcraft fan, and you put up with long development cycles.
Long development cycles, but long development cycles with actual expansions and
I know,
you know,
I know. I'm giving you a hard time.
all
I'm an old
the
Blizzard
Zwift fans should
I
be
remember
like,
I remember how long it took for Warcraft 3 to come out from Warcraft 2.
Yeah, it really needs to be like for something like this. I feel like they have to have at least like what 30, 40 plus like kind of daily events, worlds to plow through to really, because like for us, like I jumped on there and they had what 3, 4, 5 of them or whatever within a week, 10 days. I was through all of them in my normal
and they were
workout
all
cycle.
serious intervals.
Yeah, they were great workouts, but it's like once I did them all once, I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. I'm not going to do them again. So it's like I need to have, in my head, it's like I need to have a month's worth of them. And if I'm only riding 3 days a week,
have levels where it was like the dragon broke the castle wall, hook up your trailer and ride zone 2 to the quarry to get us some more rocks.
Yeah, see, that's that's great. Yeah. Let's see, walk games. It'd be nice to get something from them. Now, I also did, since I didn't do my Zwift race, the ECRO race, I jumped on Ruby because I was like, oh, I'll update Ruby. And Ruby's pretty sick. What did I do? It's the tour around America.
The flattest route ever.
It was the flattest route ever. It was super awesome.
It's so fun.
It was super flat. You know what we need? We need the mini map. They need to get that mini map out, which I don't know. And they have a poll right now of like
the mini map looks really good on the app, but you have to have the app open.
The mobile app.
Oh.
I figured that out in racing, and I have the same opinion, BK. I get frustrated because I don't want to get my phone. I don't use my phone when I ride normally.
Yeah.
But because Ruby will do corner braking, if you're racing hard, stuff like that, and I'll get frustrated because I'm like, I'll attack and we come up on a corner, and I'm like, what the heck? So now I get my phone out so I can see what's coming.
And the mini map doesn't remember the zoom level, which annoys me. So if you're on the map looking at the little mini map on the phone app, and you go to look at some other metrics on the next page over and you go back to the map, it's fully zoomed out, and then you're like pinching it with your sweaty fingers trying to make it zoom in, where it's just like it needs to stay zoomed in. But the mini map, though, because the Ruby route is based on a real route, the mini map is like open street maps. Like it's a very, very detailed map.
I will.
That goes back to, go ahead.
No, I was going to pick on Ruby a little bit. Just a shout out to Ruby. Like, love your platform. But what's been keeping me motivated is challenges with real rewards. And there are almost no challenges out there with any real rewards attached to them right now. I've got everything complete that offers a raffle for a 12-month subscription. And that's usually what a lot of them offers, right? We're giving away 1 or 2 annual subscriptions to random people who complete this. There's like nothing out there with a real reward other than, filling up my virtual closet, which I really don't care what jerseys I have. So Ruby used to be really good about that, but I see it tapering off a little bit.
Penny pinching,
you just want to
maybe.
win. You want to win, buddy. Casey wants to win. That's what he wants.
It's almost a little motivation game for me, though, a little bit, right? Like if I complete enough challenges, I will eventually get a 1-year subscription.
Yeah. Oh, see, that is an incentive.
None of us have won something yet, because I do the same thing. I always go for the challenges and the group rides that you win something.
Check your spam. Maybe you did win in it.
I know Lee's doing them.
Maybe you did hit spam. You might have won. Or it should tell you in the game, though.
Yeah, I know Lee's doing them, and I know friend of the show, Brent Sensig, does them, because every route that I do that has a KOM or anything on it, both your names are in the list of friends who have done the segment. So I'm like, okay, I know these guys are grinding the routes.
I think I beat Lee in one of the segments. I think I beat you, Casey, maybe in one of the segments.
So they're still doing the big Ruby race, which is a once a month on a Sunday, where they're actually offering free stuff. So they had 3 12 months and 3 6 months, but that's just a one time. The problem with that is you got to wake up at 7 a.m. to do, because it's like a worldwide, race. I've done a few of them. Actually, the big Ruby race, what they use as their server test mode, because they have gotten like 1900 people for those once a month races.
Man, I was just thinking
Unfortunately,
about...
I'm never able to do them, but I'd like to do them. I don't get an opportunity to do Ruby events with a lot of people anymore. So I'd like to see if they've improved that experience for full roads, because I know that was probably their
I was
biggest
just thinking
problem.
this. If Ruby did the eFondo series,
the one that RGT used to do.
Remember, yes. I know, going back to RGT. I was just thinking, like, eFondo series was like a race, but it wasn't a race. It was the segments where people could ride together or do a big group of people.
Yeah,
and so
that was
more.
Tacticom,
I wonder if they're
yeah.
still doing that, because it's like the Grand Fondo, and then it became like I think you could qualify for a entry into the national championships in the United States.
As a Canadian, I qualified for the US National Gravel Championships.
But that was such a fun event. Felty did it. I did it. You did it. Casey, you did it. A bunch of people.
Every race would have 3 segments, and your score was only based on those segments. So you could just putter until you hit the segment. But there was some tactics involved, because if you dropped the group, you would go slower through the segment because you had no draft.
We need to reach out to them too. All right. Lee's talking to Cycling Canada. One of us needs to pick up. Maybe let's talk to eFondo Grand Fondo series.
You could
Bring that
incorporate a Fondo series with a challenge, right? Because a lot of these challenges are labeled as like an American Fondo or something like that, where it's 4 or 5 or 6 routes in a specific area, or with a related to a certain race, to a geographical area, whatever that is. But if you created challenges that had those routes in it, and then created the race entries that did those routes, you kind of double dip there with your community too, right? Like, we're giving you a challenge that gives you an accomplishment on these routes. You can choose to just do the challenge, but we're also going to make it a 4-week thing. And each week we are going to feature 3 races a day on that same route, so you can accomplish the challenge and start together, right? You can go do it solo, and you can go try to put times down on these places solo. But if you show up to one of these 4 or 5 events, you can do it with your friends and have that benefit of the draft or whatever. I think the only part that gets weird in Ruby in those kind of competitions is doing them free riding. You can use the bots, and they now have self-created pace partners.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They came out with a big event, or a big,
because I think you're allowed up to 10 ghost riders, 10 bots. So, I mean, you could make a pretty good drafting team pushing you through those challenges.
What I found, I kind of like the way they changed those two versus the ghost riders, is you define the pace that your bot's going to go at. Your bot will go a little harder up the hill and even out on the flats, and I think maybe coast a little on the downhill. But if you set a pace bot at 3.0 and you need to jump off the bike, that pace bot will stop 300 meters up the road, right? Like, they will drop you, but they won't run away from you, right? Like, they will back off, and if you catch back, they will stay close enough that you can grab back onto them, and then they'll come back up to their pace again. So it's one of those things where, like, you can lose attention, you can get distracted, your kid can come into the room, you could have the virtual flat tire, and it's not like Zwift where you got to basically restart or portal back up to their defined pace spot. This is your pace spot that stays with you. Like, I just have like one setup like every 0.2 of a watt per kilo, from like 2.5 to 3.5, like where they all just start with me, and it's like whichever one I feel like grabbing. There's one's always right around me, right, wherever I'm riding, and I just grab their wheel and go.
Yeah. All right. That's about it, I think. Yeah.
I think that's
good. Covered a lot tonight.
Yeah. Right on. Brian White, he's in the engine room in the boat. That's why it's black. I'll give him a chance if he wants to show up to say goodbye. If not,
I think
we're
he's
going to
off.
say goodbye. Sorry for the technical glitches in the middle of the segment, but I think the monthly thing is working out because we get a bunch of topics, some time to do some stuff. I was just thinking this. I'll wrap up with this. We won't really need to get into it unless you guys want to get into it. But after this sort of like there was a British national championships, right? I think Leadouts is doing that or
Lead out
whatever.
student. Yep.
Yeah. So this is sort of like the tail end of the season for indoor. And it seems like more stuff is coming out and more stuff is happening. So it's going to be a fun spring, summer. Hopefully for the southern hemisphere is going to go into winter. They're going to have some indoor stuff and maybe some cool stuff as well we can participate with. So,
Yeah.
All right. On that note, yeah, right on. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Once again, sorry for the glitches and looking up my nose because I'm using my progressives.